Welcome to the Code with Jason meetup. Here's what we're going to work on today. um, on my continuous integration platform, SaturnCI, I most recently was working on this. Why is this not working when the status is failed? All right, so I was working on a bug, and I always leave a loose end like this to remind myself what I was working on. So let's investigate this question. Why is this not working when the status is failed? First of all, what exactly is this? Let's get a better handle on that. Okay. So, um, this is a method called finish, and it's on the job class. So when a build runs, it has one or more parallel jobs. The default setting is 2 parallel jobs. And when a job finishes, this finish method gets called and it creates an event.
Jason, I don't want to interrupt you. You're not sharing your screen though.
Oh my goodness. Thanks for that.
I was trying to
What?
visualize it, but I think this will help.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had it on my memory, so I was still able to follow, but this is more helpful, I think.
Mm-hmm. Um, so when a job finishes, we have this job finished event that gets created. And then if the jobs that are returned by this build.jobs.finish scope are equal to all the jobs, that means all the jobs are finished. Um, and you know what? This is like sufficiently unclear. I've stumbled across this mentally enough times that I think I want to do this. Okay. Okay, so if all the jobs are finished, then we update the build with the status of the build. And I wish I had been a little more precise about what not working means. So let's see. Does not working mean that some test fails? In what way exactly does it not work? I'm thinking. Um, I think I remember. I think we can go to one of these jobs that is passed. It's labeled as passed, but it's actually failed. Yeah, here's an example. So this job failed, but the build was labeled as passed. And a hypothesis as to what's happening is that this failed job finished first, and then the successful job finished second. And so that's why this was labeled as passed. Let's see if that is in fact the order in which this happened. So this this job finished at 1440.01. Okay. And these are like out of order, but 1440.01. Okay. And then job 2, 1428. Okay. So the successful job actually finished way before the unsuccessful job. Okay. That's interesting. So that's not the reason. All right. We have no failing tests. Okay.
So what do we expect to happen here if all the jobs are finished? If a job fails, is it considered to be finished? Like it's done running?
That's a good question. I think yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let's look at status. Actually, it's called calculated status. Okay. So if the build has no jobs, then the build is considered running. If the build has any failed jobs, then it's considered failed. And let's actually check some of these things. So let's grab this specific build. Okay, so we'll say failed job equals job.find. Oh no, that's not what I meant to do. Hey Ian, welcome.
Hey, thanks.
Is this your first Code with Jason meetup?
Yeah, I've been trying to get here for a while, but I'm always busy.
Well, glad you could make it. Where are you located?
Reno, Nevada?
Oh, okay. Do you know about my conference, Sin City Ruby?
I've heard about it on your show, but
Oh, okay.
um, Las Vegas is like 9 hour drive from Reno.
Really?
Yeah, it's common thing that people think that we're next to Vegas, but
Yeah. I knew it was like not
it's
in the
only a 1 hour
same.
flight. Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was not in the same part of Las Vegas. I had no idea it was such a far drive.
Yeah, it's like the difference between Sacramento and LA.
Okay, that means nothing to me also.
Okay.
For all I know, those are 2 hours apart from each other.
You must be on the East Coast,
Michigan.
Michigan. Okay, so maybe Chicago, New York type thing. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how far do you think it is to drive from Chicago to New York?
I'd say it's probably more than that. It's probably just like 12 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think it's even more than that, but now I'm curious.
Yeah, you might be right about
I think
that.
it's got 16 or 20 actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, we have this failed job. And just to real quickly catch you up, Ian, you haven't missed much. Um, but I'm looking into this bug where when a build after a build is finished, there can be a failed job, but the build still has a status of passed. And so I'm trying to figure out why that is. So I've gotten a hold of this job specifically, and I want to see what is this job's build's calculated status. Okay, so the calculated status is failed. It's just that the cached status is, whoops, is passed. Okay. So perhaps it's the case that when finish is called, the build has a status, somehow has a status of passed. That seems unlikely, but that's a hypothesis.
The status should be running if there's still something in flight, though, right?
Yeah. And it should never get here though if there's still something in flight because it's inside of this all jobs finished conditional. Okay. So we've established that the calculated status of the build is correct. Um, well, I can write a test that recreates these conditions. I don't have high hopes that that will reproduce the issue, but I don't have a better idea, so let's do that.
Is the calculated status a field, or is that actually calling, and I'm not super familiar with Ruby, is that calling a like build.calculated status? Is that calling a method, or is that a
That's a
value that's been
method.
set? Okay.
That's a method.
Could you go back to the error message?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the error message is kind of irrelevant. It's just the error message here doesn't have anything to do with the actual bug.
Hmm.
It's just the fact that this job failed. You know what? That gives me, I'm having an idea. What if we intentionally make a test fail and just run the test suite some number of times? We can get that going, and that can be going in parallel to writing our test. So okay, let me make one of my tests fail. Okay, select project. Oh, and why do I have a comment that says I don't understand why this test is failing? I don't know that this test is failing. Anyway, let's do this. Let's change this to something that won't work. And I'm going to see if this test fails. Okay. I'm going to do this in a separate branch. Intentionally failing test. Okay, and I have another thought. Okay, this test, yeah, it's failing. I was wondering, like, is this an actual test failure or is it just an error? It is an actual test failure. Okay, so I'm going to get that going. And I'm going to run it a few times. This rerun button takes forever. At some point, I'm going to make it faster. But at the moment, it's slow.
That test failure said that it was trying to update from nil to past, but it didn't update, right?
Let's see. Right.
What I'm not sure is how would you ever be in a state where it's set to nil? Wouldn't it be running before it moves to pass?
No, good question. It's just the cache status for performance reasons. So it's never set until the build actually finishes.
Okay. Then what does the running, can the cache ever be set to running?
In theory, it could, but there's nothing that, with the current code, no.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go back to main and write a test that recreates these conditions. Let's see, I want it to be a model spec. And we'll call it, I don't know, I'll call it one failing job spec. I don't know if that's a good name, but I can always change it later. Okay, so what we want to do in this test is create a job that passes, create a job that fails. No, I want to be more precise than this. Create job A, create job B, job A passes, job B fails, and then we want to expect that the build that the build to which the job belongs has a status of passed. All right, so I'm going to fill these in. First, I need a build for both of them to belong to. So I'll do this. I'm actually going to run that just to make sure that everything's good so far. And I'll call this passing job. And then we want a failing job. Oh, but we want the build to be the build that's defined right here. Make sure that passes. Okay. Describe build status. It gets set to passed. Okay, so let's make the first job pass. On how do we do that? Okay,
Is the application code allowed somewhere? Or is it on like available?
yeah. I bet if you search for GitHub Saturn CI. Yeah, no, that's Saturn IC. Okay, hang on. GitHub Saturn CI JSON sweat. This isn't as easy to find as I had hoped. Okay, well, if you go to my profile and search for Saturn CI, you can find it.
Cool.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I want to make this passing job finish. Oh, and this is wrong. It shouldn't get set to pass. It should get set to failed because one of the jobs failed. All right, I'm just going to see what happens when I run this, even though I haven't done anything to make either job pass or fail. Okay, and these jobs have to have unique indexes. So let me do that. Okay, so everything's fine with that. So then I should say expect build dot reload dot cached status to equal failed. Let's see what happens here. Okay, expected failed and got nilled. Got nil. That's not too shocking. Okay, because at this point, build.calculated status is not going to be what we need it to be. Now let's go like this. Okay, let's see what state everything is in right here. Oh, it didn't even get to there. Interesting. Does it get to here? It does not. Okay, does it get to here? Okay, it does. Okay, but it never gets past there. Okay. Let's see why. So build.jobs is equal to what seem to be those two jobs that I set. Build.jobs.finished. Okay, so it thinks that one of these two jobs is finished. I think that makes sense. Okay. Build.jobs. Okay, does build.jobs equal build.jobs.finished? False. Interesting.
Well, why would one of them not be in a finished state?
I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's that one of them's not in the finished state. Because look, if we do build.jobs.finished, we do see both of them. So that is what we would expect. The part that's surprising is that build.jobs.finished, even though it has two and build.jobs has two, they're not equal. It may be that the order is different. So let's do this. Build.jobs.map ID. Are they in fact the same? Yeah, they are the same. They just aren't in the same order. And I don't actually know how to compare two arrays in a way that's independent of order. So let's look that up.
You can convert it to a set.
Let's see what ChatGPT says. How do I convert? No, not convert. How do I compare two arrays in Ruby in a way that's order independent? Oh, I'm surprised there's not a nicer way.
They just
There's
sort of
not a nicer way. Oh, hey.
Hey,
Okay.
what's funny is Stack Overflow. Somebody says I was trying to do the two set, but I wonder if there's a better way. And their suggestion is to do the sort. So I don't know which is better,
That's
but it
funny.
sounds like we hit both of them.
Oh, still have these. Okay. So this is interesting. Now it says expected failed got passed. But that is I feel like that's progress. Now if we put a binding.pry there, does it get there? It does. Build.jobs.finished. Okay. Okay, jobs.any. Yes. Um jobs.map status. Okay, it says both jobs are passed. Oh, I guess that makes sense because I didn't set either one of those to failed. Okay. Let's see. I wonder if I can do this. Allow failing job to receive status and return failed. I don't know if that's going to work though, because I don't know if it's the same instance in memory. Okay, that didn't work. That's not too surprising. All right, so what does it take to give a job a status of failed? Okay, if the test report includes the word failed, then it's failed. That's easy enough. See what happens now. Okay, and just to test the validity of my test, if we then go back to here and take away the set part, will this test fail? Okay. Very interesting. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a kind of a subtle bug, I think, that I would think it was probably much easier to pin down using a test than it would have been to try to pin down manually. All right, so I'm going to do a little formatting cleanup here. I guess I'm not terribly happy with either of those. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Or maybe just to make these consistent, I'll do that. Okay. And then I'll put these in a before. Or do I want to? No, I'll just leave them there. Okay, let's make sure it still passes. Okay. And do I really want this whole separate test file? Maybe it's more appropriate to put this in job spec because there's already a test that's like related to it. There's this test for finish. So I think I do want to put it there. Yeah, I'll have to. No, maybe I do want a separate test. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll commit that. Fix build status bug. All right, and how did those 4 tests do that were supposed to all 4 fail? Oh, it looks like they did all 4 get a status of failed. So that doesn't do us any good. Okay. Now, the result of this test probably won't tell us anything because if the bug is gone, then this will just appear normal. But if the bug is still present, chances are it'll still appear normal because it would take this flaky test to flake again in order for the bug to present itself. So we can't really immediately verify that the bug is gone. We'll just have to assume that the evidence that we've seen just now that the bug is fixed is good enough. And then if we observe over time that the bug never appears again, then we can be increasingly certain that the bug is gone. Okay, with that out of the way, we can go back to the feature I was working on before this, just to make a completely abrupt switch to something else. This is probably easiest shown rather than explained. So first I'm going to merge the main branch into this other branch. Okay, we have this filter here where we're supposed to be able to filter this list by passed or failed. I don't even remember what the state is right now. So let's see if I click pass and then click apply. Okay, we see passed builds, but I also see some failed builds in there. And if I check failed and click apply, okay, I see this one failed build, but there's more failed builds than that. So I don't know what's up with that. We also don't have a running status here, which I don't know if we want it or not, but at least these aren't working correctly. So let's take a look at why. First, I don't even remember what's unique on this build status filter branch. So let's go look on GitHub and see. Okay. So I added the statuses argument to build list here. All right. Thanks for coming, Mark. See you later. Statuses. Okay. Okay. And it's looking at the build's cached status.
Hmm.
And it may be that when we apply these filters and see these weird results, those might be cases where the cache status is different from what we see, but I don't think that makes sense. Okay, so if I click failed, we should see all 4 of these, but we don't. We don't see any of them. Okay. So let's do a check here. Let's go to the console. Say build.where, whoops. Well, cache status in failed. Huh. We only see the one. I find that really interesting. All right. So let's take a look at this job as an example.
What was the string that you passed in before the build status? So cache status in question mark. What does that part do?
That will replace the question mark with an array containing this one element of failed.
And then why don't you just do build where cache status equal failed?
Because in the actual filter, you could click multiple. And so,
Oh, just
I want that ability.
oh, okay.
Okay, so if we grab this job, its cache status is nil. And I think that's probably because of the bug. Okay, so let's do this. Job.where cached status is nil. Okay, it's giving an error. Oh, okay, yeah. Build.where cache status is nil. Okay, so there's 10 of those. Let's delete all of them. Oh, still reference from charges. Okay, let's make it so that does a cascading delete. Whoops, we want build. No, sorry, we want job. Has one charge, dependent, destroy. Okay, great. Now I'll commit this change. Make it so deleting a job. Oh,
We know.
wait, do we actually want that? Maybe we don't. Because having the ability to just wantonly delete jobs that already have charges, that like charges should never get deleted. By the way, I don't know if I said that word right. I've never said wantonly before. Let's have an educational moment.
That's wantonly, right? Wanton.
And what does it even mean? In a way that is intentional or shows no care about bad things that might result. Okay, so I think I used it correctly.
Wantonly. Wantonly.
She says it weird.
Wantonly,
Wantonly.
wantonly,
I don't buy that. Okay, we have to wait. Wantonly. Yeah, that's better.
wantonly,
Yeah. Okay. We shouldn't be able to wantonly destroy charges. So I'm actually not going to keep this dependent destroy. But it was convenient for that little job I just needed to do.
Yeah, that seems like it's just a convenient thing for when you're debugging, right? You wouldn't want your, and this is just, maybe I don't know the language, but in CI building, you've got builds which are made up of lots of different jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't want to delete a job and have that delete the whole build for any programmatic reason, right? Unless you were just talking about for the purposes of testing.
Well, deleting the builds and the jobs is fine. It's just you wouldn't want to delete the charges associated with those jobs. Because
What are
it's
the
like,
charges?
otherwise you could just do all these jobs and then delete them and not pay for them.
Oh, okay. So from a business perspective,
Yeah. And
I mean,
arguably, just from a logic perspective, it shouldn't be possible.
oh, so the users can delete old builds and old jobs?
Yeah. Or just like, maybe you did a job and it failed and it's just annoying to look at. And even though you only ran it 5 minutes ago, you're like, let me get rid of that one. It's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what happens now. Failed, apply. We get just the one. And what is it? Fix billing page. I find it hard to believe that there's only one failed build out of all this, and there's not. There's like a bunch. Oh, but they wouldn't have, sorry, bear with me a second here. They wouldn't have the cached status set. So let's do this. Whoops. Let's get a Rails console and build.all.each update cached status build.calculated status. I apparently made a syntax error. I see what it is. Oh, whoops. There. There. Okay, that'll probably take a minute. But then after that, maybe we can use our filter again and see something that looks more correct. I'm actually surprised by how long this is taking. I guess it does take a bit to determine the status of each build. Okay, so now if I click failed and do apply, yeah, now we see all these. If we do past, we see only past jobs. Okay, great. I feel good about that. Now, where were we as far as actual feature work goes on the status filter? Let's see. Do I have anything stashed that's meaningful? No, I don't think so. Okay. Well, I guess this works. Except no, it doesn't. Look, when I check failed and then click apply, the check goes away. So that's no good. So let's add a test for that. Okay. Whoa, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so it looks like I have this build filter directory. I have status and branch. Okay, and we're interested in filtering by status right now. Okay, I'm just gonna run this. Okay, so I'll add a group that says describe something to do with the checkboxes staying checked. Checkboxes staying checked. Actually, I'll say checkbox selections. No, I'll say describe selected checkboxes. And I'll say it stays checked after submission. After form submission. Okay. So we can, for example, check failed, let's say, and then click on apply. Then we expect failed to be checked, but I don't know how to do that. So we'll ask ChatGPT. How do I do it? Okay, straightforward enough.
That seems dubious.
Does it?
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Have checked field failed?
Yeah, I check failed, and then I expect it to have a checked field of failed.
Oh, is there only one checked box in the, well, there's two checked boxes, right?
No, just one.
Hmm.
Because this is the entirety of what's happening. We just check failed and then click apply. So that passed, but it shouldn't have. I suspect we have a race condition here.
Or it's just saying that it found the field or failed, that it's there.
But it should only succeed if it found a checked field.
Yeah.
Which I'm suspecting that it did because it was checked, because the test didn't wait long enough. Okay, so at this very moment, failed is not checked, and I would expect the test to fail. Yeah. So I believe we have a race condition here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where the test runner is checking failed, and then it's clicking apply, but like immediately after apply is clicked, it's like checks this or clicks this, and it's like, is it checked? Oh, yep, it's checked. But that's only because we just checked it. So we have to add something to eliminate the race condition. So here's something we can do. We can
One thing we
add,
did often in bad test cases was we would just write wait, 1,000. But that made it so our test suites all took forever.
yeah, there's a better way we can do it. We can, I'm looking for a not to, yeah.
Sleep.
So we can make sure that the test runner waits until after the page refreshes. And we can do that by saying, okay, in this state, we have some past builds here. But if we check failed and click apply, all the past builds will go away. So we know that if there's no past builds, then the page has refreshed. But if there are any past builds, the page hasn't refreshed yet. And unlike this expect here, this expect where it says expect page not to have content, this will wait. And so because this expect will wait for its expectation to be met, then it'll kind of halt the test running before it allows it to continue, which should eliminate the race condition. So let's see if that works as expected. Mm-hmm. At least I think so. I was expecting the test to fail at least. Okay, yeah. Yep, okay. So now let's see how we can keep it checked. I think we have like a builds controller. And we have show. Okay, maybe we have to go to jobs controller. Yeah, so we have our build list here. So what's the view for this? Okay, we have build list. Okay, and we have our filter here. So I'll say how do I keep the check boxes checked? Okay. Param statuses include past. Okay, to me that looks kind of ugly, but I'll at least give it a try. Okay, and let's see if this passes or fails. Okay, that passed. So let's see here if we check failed and click apply. Oh yeah, it stays checked.
Nice.
Okay.
What about the past one?
I'm expecting that that will not work. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, so let's add a test for that one. So that one's failed. And we can change this one to passed. Okay, and I'm expecting that this test will fail. And indeed it did. Yep, and it fails in the way I expected. So apparently we just have to add params statuses dot include past. Still fails. Oh, I did this wrong. How did I do that? So, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Forgot to update that. See if that passes now. Okay, well, I refreshed it and it showed up there. Just curious, if we uncheck them, do they stay unchecked? Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. And does it work in conjunction with this branch thing? Looks like it does. That's nice.
Wow.
Okay, and we have no way to clear the filter, but that's another story. Okay, I'm gonna run all the tests in this file. And I'm gonna commit this, but there's a few things I'm not totally happy with yet. Um, One is that we have this list partial here. And let's see, it's 39 lines. This filter takes up quite a bit of real estate in this file. It has great prominence. It's at the very beginning of the file, takes up a lot of space, but this um, filter is only like one small part of this whole partial. Feels inappropriate for it to take up so much space, so much prominent space. Let's see, this is the actual list of builds here. This is the main idea in this file. So the main idea is taking up half the space, and this like peripheral thing is taking up the other half of the space, but it's actually the more prominent half. That feels inappropriate to me, so I want to address that. Another thing is that this is obviously very duplicative. Also, this is ugly, this conditional, not conditional, this safe operator here. That's ugly. I want to see if there's something I can do about that. So that's one thing. Another thing is in this test, I have this within thing repeated a bunch of times. It's kind of ugly. It just adds noise to the test without adding meaning. So maybe there's some way I can address that. I'm going to do this first because I think it's the worst of the two issues. But before I do any of that, I'm going to commit this because it is working.
I also noticed that on your filter, when you toggle branch and then you do the filter, it goes back to the word branch instead of staying on the selected branch.
I noticed that too, actually. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that's a whole different bug. Okay. Um, so we got some work to do. Let's address that filter. So build lists. All right. I think I want to turn this into a view component. Let's see. Component. Yeah, here we go. Rails generate component build filter, we'll call it. Okay, so then in this thing here, build filter component.html. So we can move this stuff to here. Okay. And then I don't know how to output the component actually. Build. No, I think we do render build filter components. Then we can go to the controller.
That's cool. I always do a string that list that goes to the path.
When you're rendering a partial, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is a little different since it's a view component. Have you ever by chance used the view component library?
Ooh, I don't think so. Cool.
Yeah, so I'll try to explain my motivation behind doing this in a minute after I get it rendering here. Okay, build filter component. Okay. Build filter component equals build filter component dot new. I'm sure this won't work, but let's see what happens. Yeah. undefined local variable or method current tab name. Okay, not surprising. So you can see this current tab name here. So I will pass it the current tab name. And then in the build filter component, I'll add an initializer. Sorry, this is current tab name. Okay. And then
Did you-
here, sorry?
Did you need that colon at the back, at the end? In that previous? Current tab name, colon?
Yeah, because it is a keyword argument. Okay. And then I don't know how this works. I don't know if I want it to be an instance variable. Let's see if that works. Okay. Evidently that worked. Now it's saying no route matches this job path ID nil. So it's not getting the job either. All right, so let's add job. Okay, branch name. So it thinks build list is nil. Okay. Okay, all unknown keyword, yep. Okay. Um, now that is working. Let's see if the filtering actually works. Evidently it does. Okay, I'm pleasantly surprised. Okay. So I'm gonna commit this and then come back and clean a couple things up and try to explain a couple things. Add build filter component. Okay. So hopefully I can kind of explain via illustration. So I don't want to have to do this messy param statuses include thing. So here's what I can do. I can make it so build filter component takes these statuses. Actually, I'm going to put that right there. Okay, so now I have my hands on the statuses, and I'm going to create a method here. Um, maybe I'll call it checked. Okay, and now I can change this to checked passed and checked failed. So I think that's a little tidier. Let's see if I did all that right. I'd be surprised if I did. Okay, maybe I did. Okay, it seems to work.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's tidier, and it goes here in this component. You know, how else could that have been accomplished? I could have maybe put something in a helper or something like that, and maybe that would be fine. But this way, I get to put this in a place that is very clearly related to this piece of markup.
Yeah, I would agree. Extracting it into a helper would make it more complex for somebody else looking at it.
Yeah, this checked method would be kind of distant from the place where it's used. In this way, it's very close to the places it's used. All right, so I'm going to commit this. I'm going to review what I did first. Okay, no surprises. All right, and we're at an hour, but I'm going to keep going a few minutes. If either of you guys have to drop off, no problem. Okay, interesting. Permission denied. Can't push to my own repo. How insulting. All right, I don't know if GitHub's having an issue right now or what. Okay. Let's open up that build list component again. No, sorry, build filter component. So I would like to dry this up a bit. Let me think of how I want to do that. Well, here's one option. Oh, actually, I can do this. Whoops, what did I just do? Okay. And if I manage to do all of that with no mistakes, big if, then that should work.
That's good to me.
Okay. Seems to have worked. Great. All right. Well, I think that looks a little better. And now if we want to add another one, like running, then it's a little bit simpler. Will this work? Let's see.
Should be blank, empty like you do running, right?
Yeah, although I'm getting one going right now, so I can have one to test with.
Well,
That works. And apparently there's one from February. Oh no, these are both. Oh wow. Okay. These are both like not legit. These are from February and March. Okay. Well, I didn't really want one for running anyway, so let's just pretend we didn't see that. Okay. So I think I'm close to happy enough with the component. What did I just do? Oh yeah. Dry up, build filter component markup. Let's see if I'm allowed to push now. It's not looking promising. Wow. Okay. Okay. What do I want to do now? Oh yeah. So I have this thing called build list, and I'm not sure if build list and build filter component are like super compatible conceptually. Let me see what these things each have. Whoops, build filter component. Okay, so build list has these builds, and it's doing like this branch and status filtering stuff. I guess that makes sense. But then it has the branch name stuff. That doesn't feel appropriate. Feels like branch name should go in the build filter component. Yeah, here we're doing build list.branch names. I think we should just have, we shouldn't have this. We should have this. Yeah, let's see if that works. Okay. Okay, and this error is not too surprising given the GitHub weirdness that's going on right now. GitHub status. Okay. Apparently the world is fine, it's just me. Okay. Okay, so I feel good about that move. Yeah, and this feels appropriate still. It feels even more appropriate now that that branch names method is out. Okay, and I think I do want to add perhaps a test. So let's see, build filter component spec. Okay, and build filter component HTML. All right, so how does this work? I don't remember. I was trying to do a fancy select, but I can't remember how to do that either. Okay. Okay, so we render it. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to try something here. Let's say build filter component equals build filter component dot new. And we have to pass in all this stuff, I guess, which I don't really want to have to do, but let's do it, I guess. Job, build list, statuses, and current tab name. Okay, and that will fail because none of this is valid. Yeah. All I care about is statuses. So I will do that. Now I'll just put nil for everything else. See if that works. Okay. Checked. Status. Okay, we'll just do past actually. Expect build filter component dot checked past to be true. Okay. I'm gonna add another test. Oh, we don't want it renders something useful. It returns true. So we'll do context. Status is checked. And status is not checked. Returns false.
You want it to be false. Or if you expect it to be failed, you want it to be true, right?
Well, the list of statuses only includes past. So if we expect, sorry, we're asking if past is checked, we expect that to be true because it is checked. And then if we ask if failed is checked, we expect it to be false because failed isn't checked, only past is checked.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we added a test there. Add test. Okay. And with that, I'm ready to merge this. I'm thinking like, did my keys expire or like what's going on? I don't know. Okay, let's see. It's 7:14. What I'm gonna do, I think, is just barely get started with the next thing so I can leave a loose end for next time so I remember what I was working on. And actually, before I do that, I'm just gonna run the tests locally since I can't run them on CI. Because I do want to make sure all the tests are passing before I merge.
It looks like all of GitHub just is going down.
Really? Well, great news. It's not just me.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy when big services like that go down.
We had Jenkins go down for the day yesterday.
Oh no. Yeah, that's a pretty big one. Can't do
Yeah.
CI all day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, talk to them about using SaturnCI.
SaturnCI, yeah.
Okay, so everything passed. So I'm going to go to main and merge that in. SaturnCI can't go down because it's not even up.
Yeah.
There's no production environment.
That's gonna
Okay,
be
so
tough.
what's that?
Oh, it's not gonna fail because it's not up. That's gonna
Yeah.
be tough for the company.
Okay, so this filter, to be quite frank, I think looks like garbage. So I want to improve this design a bit. So let's see what we can maybe do about this. We need to allow the possibility that this branch thing will contain very long branch names. And what I fucking hate, speaking of GitHub, is it will like truncate things that are, oh, wow. Okay, can't even load it. Okay. But like when you go to make a new pull request, for example, it doesn't give you nearly enough room for your branch name. It just truncates it. And it's like, hey, this is probably going to be something kind of long, like a lot of the time. So I'm not going to make that mistake with this product. I'm going to make this nice and long. And if your branch name is longer than this, then like you're on your own, because I think that's plenty of room, but I'm at least going to make it that wide. Okay. So let's see. I think I want to be able to like see more of this at once. Okay, so it's called build filter form. I actually don't like that. I'm going to put it back. Okay, but it's called build filter form. Okay, and I think this is probably going to call for its own CSS file. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that right now. Build filter form.css. Okay, and if I refresh now, yeah, the styling goes away. And if I put it here, does it come back? Okay. I just wanted to make sure that it was really working. So what if I do this? Build filter form, select width 100%. Wow. It's amazing when things actually work. Okay, so that is great, I think. Okay. And I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say div class equals build filter control. And by the way, I'm making a conscious decision in this product not to use Tailwind or Bootstrap or anything, because among other reasons, when you do Rails upgrades, it's like the most painful part to me is often not the Rails upgrade itself. It's all the JavaScript stuff and all the CSS build, asset build stuff that you have to upgrade. And I am ready to just be done with all that. So no CSS or JavaScript libraries for me if I can help it. Okay, so build filter control. First, let's just do border 1 pixel solid red. Okay. And then let's do like margin bottom 10 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, take away the border. Okay. I don't love it. It's not like consistent. Let's do this. Let's actually take away this thing that I just added. And let's do this. See top and bottom. And I personally don't see any reason not to use inline styles. I'm fine with it. I think it depends on circumstances, but in certain cases, I'm fine with it. Okay.
Checkbox.
Oh, what's this? Okay, I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at.
So yeah, if you scroll down here, you can say click one of those if there's one that you like. And then it'll just copy the straight CSS directly into your clipboard.
Oh, wow, interesting.
I think definitely the little slidey smiley face guy is what you want, right?
Ha, where's that? Oh, this? Ha!
Pass fail. That yeah or failed, you could change yeah to fail or success.
That's funny. You know, side note, just another one of my old man rants about the world. Animations like this are entertaining for like the first 900,000 times, and then they get old. So one of my
Especially
actual,
when your builds are failing, right?
right. So one of my principles for SaturnCI is none of that. Everything's just going to be no animation. So sorry, Ian, I'm going to say, fuck your checkboxes. I'm just going to have it plain.
But one thing that you do want is if it's passed as clicked and then somebody clicks failed, you want it to be a radio button style, right? Rather than a checkbox.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because maybe I do want to
Balance.
see passed and failed builds.
Yeah.
Neither one's checked, passed, failed, or you don't want to see anything.
Well, in that
Mm.
case, I just want to see everything. But like, I could imagine the future having more statuses than just passed and failed. Yeah, I don't know. I'll
Stable.
defer that decision until later. Okay, here's another problem. Like, um, things that are near each other are perceived as belonging together. But this checkbox here, does it belong to past or does it belong to failed? It's not abundantly clear. So I want to bring these two things closer together and these two things closer together and the two groups of things farther apart. Ooh, and that might actually be hard. I'm just gonna try this real quick. By the way, welcome, David. Came in just in time to catch the very end. Okay.
Story of my life.
Well, that is a lazy way to group them how I want, but that's like not great. But yeah, this might be not super easy. I'm gonna try something here. Span style equals background color. I don't know what background color this whole filter is. Okay, background color, blah, blah, blah. Margin right, 10 pixels. Okay, so this looks bad. Padding 5 pixels. Okay, top and left and right, 3 pixels, 5 pixels. I don't even know why I'm like continuing this because I'm not gonna keep this because I don't like it, but that at least illustrates like how you can group things. And there's kind of two parts to design. You know, there's making it look aesthetically appealing, and then there's making it like communicate the things that it should communicate. And this, and I'm gonna make this a little darker actually. Okay, not that dark. Okay. This looks like shit, but it at least communicates the thing it needs to communicate, which is that this checkbox is associated with this label and this checkbox is associated with this label.
Why
You
is
know,
the first, that add build filter component, why is that gray?
add build filter.
It's the first result under your component section.
Oh, good question. Maybe Rick, that indicates a design flaw on my part, but that just indicates that that item is selected.
Oh,
But it might be too similar to the filter, or there might not be enough of a border. Oh, let's do this. Now we're just fucking around, but we'll do this. Build filter form, border bottom, I don't know, 2 pixels, that color. This looks bad, but in a way it's better.
It would also have accessibility issues, right?
Would it?
Yeah, the contrast between the various things would be really difficult for a colorblind person to see.
Oh, good point. Yeah, and for some reason I didn't really notice until now how subtle this difference is. So I want to address that. Yeah, but even though this actually looks bad, in a way it's kind of good because now this filter is a very clearly separate thing. So I don't know what I want to do with this. I definitely want it to be like different than it was. But I think looking at this will at least give me an indicator next time I pick this up that this design was what I was working on. I can do a git diff and see that I had these things different, and then I'll pick back up and make these things look better. And again, maybe they won't look aesthetically beautiful, but they will at least be designed so that they communicate what they should communicate to the user.
And the
Okay.
last GitHub services just went down, so there you go.
Oh,
It's an
wow.
exciting day.
Exciting day.
So
Any,
time to go outside.
yeah, I wish. I still got crap to do. Anyway, any last comments or questions or anything before we go? Well, thanks guys for joining me, and I'll see you next time.